Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Steve and I are back as we continue our look into the Hammer horror films with Kiss of the Vampire, directed by Dawn Sharp. When car trouble strands a honeymooning couple in a small southern European village, an aristocratic family in the area reaches out to help them, with sinister consequences. There's no budget information for this
No,
for some
no.
reason. You'd think you'd start to begin at this stage.
Couldn't find any anywhere. So,
No, I
but,
always have a look about. It's always interesting to know how much these films cost, and if they do go to the box office, because it's a bit of a strange time. Because we know cinemas were like busy the thing, people didn't really have TVs at home. It was a rarity,
yeah.
and going to the cinema was an event. But
If they were, they used to be black and white mostly, didn't they?
like,
Back in the early
I
'60s.
watched the thing. All different countries when they went from television, or sorry, when they went from black and white to color, and they all had
Mm.
like these switching on ceremonies. In
Yeah,
Australia, the Australians did it during a kids program.
yeah. A lot of people used to rent TVs as well, off
My mum did
Rediffusion.
that. Yeah, Granada
Redif-
was a big one.
yeah. Used to have the old box on the wall when it was cable. The first bit of cable, used to have to turn the channel on the wall, but like a switch type thing. But and we had a very very early remote control TV. It was Steve change channel.
I remember the one we got it for when we first got the VHS. It was the lead Noir, and to be honest, it was more hassle plugging the thing in and having it land about the place than just going over and pressing for all the length of the lead. He may as well just went over to it.
I know the first video recorder I had was a top loader. The
Yep.
one where you used to have to sit on it to close it,
Yep. And there was a time you had a choice between VHS or Betamax, and
Oh yeah.
God, they're fun times. Do you remember the video rentals? Remember we were talking last night about video rental stores? You had the Betamax section. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was
Didn't
always
last
small.
very long.
Do you remember they tried to do video disc as well? They were like 12-inch records.
Oh, the Sony Laserdisc.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, that was a late 90s thing, wasn't it? They didn't last long either.
They didn't last long either. This film. I mean, it was all right, I suppose. Certain things. I felt that the vampire, Dr. Ravna, wasn't it? Tried to be too much like Christopher Lee.
Yeah, and he wasn't.
Failed dismally, of course. He tried to be a real Dracula.
Tried to take us up the next notch, basically a whole coven of vampires. But then there was no payoff for it.
No, what was the purpose of that group? They didn't do anything. As if they went out and attacked the whole village or anything as a group. They were just there. Where did they go when they weren't there? Was he holding them, in the bloody hall there or wherever they were downstairs, weren't they? And
did they travel far and wide?
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, everybody would be drained dry. If that many vampires was in a village, there'd be nobody left.
Yeah, because they got to feed. Yeah, but they were all dressed in white. Did you see how they were sat? Did you get my thing?
I did. Once
your head. See, oops, upside your head.
Once it sat down, I just started the music. I'm like, oh God, no. That was ridiculous. I don't know if this should have been a comedy or not, because we started off obviously at the funeral. It's happening in broad daylight, and you've got the gospel windbags going, what's he doing here? He's been drinking, all that sort of stuff. And I couldn't even bother learning his name, but the vampire hunter, the discount Van Helsing of this story.
His name was Professor Zimmer, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zimmer.
At first, the first scene you see him stood on top of the thing. You think he's the vampire.
Yeah, it was very
and you
odd.
expect him to turn into a bat and swoop down and kill everyone at the funeral. And then when he comes down and goes,
He
I'm
didn't.
going to his face.
He goes to the. I guess that was a priest. Gives your throwy thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, with the
Gives a go. Basically, he's like,
water,
give us a go.
holy water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sprinkle him around himself, and then, oh my god, what a throw! Like, picks up the shovel and he's like, whack through.
yeah,
Like, you would have to have arms like that size, like Obelix or something, to
yeah, yeah,
throw that hard. Like, he doesn't just throw it; he throws it through the coffin and
yeah,
impales the vampire underneath.
yeah.
Like,
And then you get the red paint, don't you? The standard red paint in the
yeah, but
60s.
how much was that bubbling up?
Yeah. She must have had some bloody blood count, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing I laughed about Professor Zimmer was when he was having that ding dong with the vampire girl at the side of the grave.
Oh, God, that
Um,
was.
she went to bite him, and it was like he just held his hand as if to go on then, bite me. And then she bit him, and it's like a momentary pause of about 3 seconds while he watched her bite him on the wrist.
They obviously haven't figured out fight choreography yet. That's one thing that really lacks in these movies is that no concept of fight choreography.
Yeah.
At the time, like there was plenty of sword fights. They seem to have sword fighting down to a T. When you have
Yeah.
Errol Flynn and all that kind of stuff, you
Yeah.
give two people a sword in their hands, that could do that no problem. Is that because that was practiced on stage?
I think fencing used to be an in thing because we were taught fencing at school back in the mid 70s, and fencing used to be a thing for sports. On the sports day there was fencing, so I don't know whether it was a thing that carried through from their schooling days, and it was a thing that everyone done. I don't know, but yeah, they seem to have that down to a T, don't they? And all the Three Musketeers and things like that. And yeah.
Watch out of those movies, and the fight scenes are, the choreography is amazing. Give them a sword in their hand, away they go. But it seems to be when it comes to fisticuffs or some sort of physicality that just don't like. And we've seen this right up to this point. Even Peter Cushing, when it came to a fight scene, was abysmal.
Yeah, it was
But this was comical. Yeah. This
he
was comedy.
grabs him by the shoulders and doesn't let go, and
yeah. But he's doing this
wooden,
strange thing of grabbing her by the hands, and it was just awkward.
But yeah, she a strange place to bite as well.
I think they were trying to. Just put it. He's trying to grab her, subdue her, and she just bit him to get away.
But it was the amount of time that it took her to bite him.
Yeah,
because it was a case of, and he just let her do it. He saw the head go towards her. Yeah, there you go. Here's me.
But I think it's purely that didn't know how to do fight choreography. I honestly think it was Bruce Lee. And it's not because I'm a massive Bruce Lee fanboy or anything. I appreciate his stuff, but he's also very gimmicky as well. But I think it was Bruce Lee that brought over the Hong Kong cinema. That style of the wushu and fighting and so forth, which basically shaped. He came over. What was it? Early 70s.
So yeah, 72, I think. So.
Yeah, so you're talking early 70s before Bruce Lee landed on the scene, and even then, if you've watched any of his, any of the biographies about him, even what he did, Western, as in Hollywood, couldn't comprehend what he was trying to do. Like when he was doing the Green Hornet and stuff, he was playing Chiro. Like he would do a move that he was used to doing in Hong Kong cinema, but the Western audience just couldn't, the producers just couldn't keep up or comprehend what he was doing. So I really think that was the sort of turning point.
Yeah.
But up until then, we've got this, and it is terrible.
Yeah. It's there's not very much fight scenes in it, is it? That you'd expect with I think the only fight scene was when the bats invaded the.
Oh,
Alien.
oh,
I read today, right, that the bats were actually purchased in Woolworths.
it looks it.
Yeah, this is what I read today, and I thought, oh my god, yeah, they purchased a load of bats in Woolworths.
They cleared the Halloween section. Let's be honest, they went and cleared the Halloween aisles. But,
Yeah.
but I suppose we can laugh at it now. But back then, none of that stuff was done.
No.
You know, this is all, I suppose, technically groundbreaking stuff for back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that got me, it's advertised as 1963. If you look at the the opening thing at the bottom where it's got the XX.
Yeah, it's 1962.
1962, yeah. And I thought, oh, so what month did it come out in 1963 then?
I think the problem is we're so used today of being able to find out information. So if something's went on behind the scenes with scheduling or conflicts or studio problems, we know about it. It becomes part of the news. There's a leak. But back then, that just wasn't done.
Yeah.
And there's probably loads of stuff like actors and so forth have taken to their graves, because the culture was you didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's difficult from a historical, like we're almost looking at this through a historical perspective.
Yeah.
As much as watching his movies, we're looking at the history of cinema here. But we'll never get to the bottom of the story because most people who have been involved in it are no longer here with us.
No.
And the culture was you don't talk about, and it was rude. It was considered bad form to talk about problems in the workplace or the studio, so they wouldn't divulge anyway.
Yeah.
The days of the tell-all memoirs and stuff, that wasn't really about until the 80s.
No. The thing I found funny though is the chief vampire, Dr. Ravner. He had a telescope and it was pointing at the road.
That was funny.
Why would you have a telescope?
I honestly think this should have been a comedy.
Yeah.
If this had been a comedy and he, like carry on a first bite or something, and he was a mustache twirling, another victim, I think it would have fitted. But the fact that they're trying to play this straight and it is comical, I don't know if, once again, is it looking back that we see it as comical? But we've seen Dracula, we've seen The Curse of Frankenstein, and those were horror. This isn't, it's an attempt.
Yeah, it's not. Like I said, the thing that got me is the first scene when he's like stood in the window looking down at the road, and you think that pose was done by Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
And you're not Christopher Lee. You haven't got the facial expressions from Christopher Lee, and I thought, yeah, you're trying to be too much like Christopher Lee.
Talking of pretenders, there's somebody who pretends to be part of the podcast, but, he's on holiday. I had to switch my heating on today, so thanks for rubbing that in. He's just like, oh, it's so hot. So much holiday. Hello, peasants. I'm just popping in to rub your noses in it.
Yeah. Go and have a ride with Harry Potter.
Oh man, hope you're having fun, Chris.
I actually wrote that joke, and then afterwards I thought, oh my god, like I've just realised what I've said.
I thought you meant it. I thought you knew exactly what you said. That's why I laughed.
I did, yeah, but I wrote it and then realised afterwards what I'd said. And I thought, oh shit! And then, of course, Chris come up with that, and then you come up with something. I thought, oh my god!
Never, ever open the innuendo door. Put it in. Oh man, but yeah, I genuinely think it should have been a comedy. It would have worked so much better.
Yeah, yeah. And in reality, the guy who played his son, Dr. Ravner's son, there's only 15 years between them. If you look at it, you think, nah, it's not. It's got to be more than that, because it really looks like Noel Willman, who plays Dr. Ravner, has had a bad life, but because his son is quite Barry
Look at
Warwick.
Peter Cushing. He was in his 20s in some of these, and he just looks the same age.
Yeah. Oh, he looks the same age, until
Like in
he's
The Mummy, for flip's sake, he's supposed to be a young boy, just at a university or something. And freaking, he looks as if he's my age.
Yeah. But yeah, the actor who played Dr. Ravner was born in 1918, and the one who played his son, he was born in 1933. So there's only like 15 years between them, and yeah. But the thing I liked as well was when he was playing the piano, and same old thing. The keys weren't moving, and he was like playing something that should have been on the left hand, and he was using his right hand, and
Yeah.
very bad.
But
Saying that,
even that piano sounded horrible. The one that dubbed over the top.
yeah,
That was awful.
it could have been lovely because the musical pieces that they chose were pretty good stuff. They're top notch.
But whatever piano they grabbed, the player was awful.
Yeah, he just well got something from the old age pensioners tea party, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Snooker Loopy, Chaz and Dave.
Oh dear. I've heard better in Western saloons, the old spindle thing. It just and she's sitting there like raptured, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
I've heard better. I've heard better from street performers.
Yeah. That's a pretty good street performance. But the other thing I picked up on is we had the English accent. It was supposed to have been in Germany, but then he was calling her Madame, which is French.
Yeah.
And the castle was a chateau, which is French. Okay.
Pick one. I don't know. They're supposed to be like the cultured people that know the world,
Yeah.
But then again, would we have known any better back then?
Oh, they probably wouldn't have back then. They would have just sort of chateau. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds foreign. That'll do.
Yeah.
I'm not a particularly cultured person, but I did look at a map at school and I tried to pay attention.
Oh, my geography is awful. Ask Co. I think that every country's sort of. I would even think that New Zealand was, next country over from Malaysia. He was let's go to Peru. Is that near Malaysia? Peru. British. No, British, geography, fine. I can tell you where anything is in Britain, but foreign geography, I mean, let's face it. I failed bloody sex education at school because me and my mate both got Fs on sexual education, and I said to him, that's really bad. He says, yeah, should we teach the teacher a lesson? I says, yeah, what are we going to do to her? He says, I know, let's go and give her a kick in the bollocks.
Oh, dear. I was waiting. Kick in the bollocks.
Yeah.
Before drones or telescopes. It's funny as well. Most of this happens during daylight.
Yeah. Because why would the vampires visit the hotel in daylight if they knew that they were affected by daylight, and they had to run back in the carriage, didn't they, and pull the blinder.
That's where this should have been a comedy.
But the what's he called? What's the name of the Gerald?
Gerald and
And his
Marianne.
missus. They didn't actually go, what the hell's wrong with them? It was just they let them go, and that was it.
Those two have no sense of danger whatsoever. Those two are bubbleheads.
Yeah.
I just love the fact. So it all starts off. They're driving down the road, and of course, Marianne couldn't read the map apparently, and they end up in this strange place. The fact that he tells her to stay in the car, like it's. And when I hear a car, I'm thinking even like a Model T Ford or something. No, this is a flipping jaunting car. Next thing up from a carriage. And what protection is that thing going to offer?
Yeah, it's open, isn't it? It's got one of the.
Stay in the car, you'll be safe.
Yeah,
really?
You'll be safe.
Yeah. What, from the squirrel? You wouldn't even be safe from the squirrels. Climb up it.
But where's he going to find a petrol station in the middle of the forest?
And you would think as well, that's you've no petrol gauge, you've to dip the tank every so often. That'll be something you'd be hyper aware of.
Yeah.
Don't just do. Like I said, the pair of them are bubbleheads. This really should have been a comedy. This should have been a carry-on film.
She runs after him and runs into this Professor Zimmer, who says, "Go back to your car." Why? Why do I want to go back to the car?
And what difference is it going to make?
What protection is that car going to give me against the vampires?
Or anything, muggers, highwaymen, you name it. Nothing. Flipping bird turns up. It's going. I mean, there's no.
As already, she was sat in the passenger seat saying, "Ha ha ha! You can't get me. I've locked the door."
The only thing I would save her is if it rained a bit, or getting her shoes wet. If it was muddy ground, that's it.
Did you see her shoes? They were modern high heel shoes. They
right at the beginning.
Yeah. They were modern. They weren't like 1800 shoes. They were modern high heel shoes. Yeah, just something I recognised. Anyway, but
you know what I mean. I think we've got a feeling that attention to detail was not a forte of the 50s and 60s. Because the nerd didn't exist until the 80s. I don't think we were fully realizing until like 1984 or something. That's when the sort of nerd virus spread across the world.
They done films on it, didn't they? Revenge of the Nerds and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Revenge of the Nerds too.
And things like that. But,
Porkies.
Yeah. Porkies. Yeah. Those were the days.
But yeah, so obviously the studios aren't expecting two Muppets to come on a podcast and pick apart every scene. That just wasn't the thing.
No. And I had to laugh because again we said they got no sense of danger. Oh, I've got this letter here addressed to me. Oh. Yeah. Oh, come to dinner. We're complete strangers. Come to dinner because the dinner they serve in the bloody hotel is crap. Like you said, it should have been a comedy, shouldn't it?
Like those two, that was Basil and Sybil Faulty running that hotel. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Oh, they got Royce, wasn't it? Royce, they must be married. We got a big bag of rice over there.
When was that? Obviously, that wasn't a Western tradition. That was brought in.
They used to throw rice at them instead of confetti, didn't they?
Yeah, obviously didn't. Rice was imported.
Was it a German thing? Oh no, it couldn't have been because they were. Yeah, they came from Britain, didn't they?
Rice is Asian.
Yeah,
it was imported. It was one of the luxurious items of the.
Yeah.
The East Indian.
We haven't only got German tradition. We got the French tradition, the English tradition, and now they're buggering off into Asia as well.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, well.
It is. It would have been a thing in the 60s, but not in the 1800s. Not when this was set.
No, no.
That's the problem. They're thinking with 60s sensibilities and really not giving it to us.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Yet when they, like Peter Cushing when they do the proper gothic stuff, they do it fantastically. But when they do things like this, they really miss the mark.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I'm just googling it now.
yeah. That car wouldn't even protect them from the rain either. Like, what happened if it rained?
This is a good point. The history and the tradition of showering newlyweds at a wedding with rice, seed, and grains predates Christianity. The Celts, mighty warriors, were also an agronomist culture who tossed rice, millet, and other grains to appease spirits and asked for blessing and fertility for the couple.
Right, I can get grains and stuff. That makes sense, but rice doesn't, because rice is not a indigenous crop.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And yes, sure, it predates Christianity, but not in European. I'm just talking about geography. You know, it probably was a tradition, but it's one that's been brought over.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's more an Indian. It's probably been influenced by Indian tradition. I think that's something might have come from there, as opposed to Oriental. You know, the sort of Far Eastern.
Someone told me back along that in Morocco, they chuck dates and figs at you. You just imagine it with a stone in the middle.
Oh god! Yeah, those things are sticky.
Yeah, so yeah, they chuck dates and figs at you in Morocco. When
Dates are
we were
bigger too. They hurt more.
Oh yeah, they got the stones in the middle, didn't they?
Yeah, well, so do figs, but the stones and the figs are tiny. We used to.
Yeah.
I don't know how we didn't get wiped out. We would go to in Basra City. We had to go to the local markets and buy the fresh figs. Just we just rock up the vehicles, be like, hey, money, buy a few bags, and like we could have been poisoned, set up, blown up, shot, anything.
Yeah.
But then just had this cavalier attitude of, yeah, whatever. If we're going to get us, we're going to get us. And then obviously the locals loved it because we're like banned from the their market stalls. I'm probably paying 10 times the price. You know, we had to come in once and have over a couple of dollars, and it would have been a week's worth of trade.
Yeah.
Oh dear, fun times. But yeah, this starts off
ancient tradition.
Absolute
chucking rice at people. I can't see it happening though all the time, because surely rice must have been quite expensive back then.
Salt and pepper at that time as well. Salt and pepper were considered to be spices, and only luxurious cafes would have had it. Same as tea and coffee. You know, it wasn't for the peasantry. Now I know these two aren't. You know, they're well to do.
Yeah,
but
I like that when the guy says, doesn't he? Oh, you must be rich then.
That's just straight out.
Oh, brilliant!
You have a car.
Yeah, you must be rich. Hey, look, they've got rice.
You could picture Basil Fawlty coming off of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? Just
you could, yeah.
Or Sid James or something, you know. Who do you call her? Always acted alongside him.
Hattie Jakes. Oh, Hattie Jakes.
Hattie Jakes, yeah, plays matron. Yeah. Those two run in the hotel.
Yeah.
That would be, isn't it? And what's his face who played? And Karen Laughlin played Frankenstein. You know, the doctor.
Oh, Kenneth.
Kenneth. Yeah, he'd be the count.
Yeah.
You could just see this all translated across, and it would have been one of the best carry-ons. You know, it would have topped Carry On Screaming. It would have been Carry On.
Bernard Bresslaw. Bernard Bresslaw is the guy who opens the door at the chateau. Yeah. He always played that sort of part, didn't he?
Yeah, it'd be honestly, you'd have been in absolute stitches. Just kept everything the same. Just transposed everybody with a carry-on cast. Even kept the
Yeah.
same script,
Yeah.
and
And
just
then
every so often play the sort of
Gerald, you remember that guy who played the bumbling detective in Carry On Screaming? He was in Steptoe and Son.
yeah.
He could have played Gerald, who had the car. Yeah.
Oh, it would have been 100 times better
Hmm.
because that was the thing. I was laughing during this. You know, through Dracula and the Frankenstein, and the Mummy and stuff, you felt that sense of dread. You
Yeah.
know, just from the script and the storytelling of that. This,
Yeah.
I was just, I was
I
trying to
was
stifle giggles, and I'm not
I
about to
was,
be
I
laughing
was
at this.
laughing in the final scene with the bats because
Oh, that broke me. That was it.
these
I was
people
off the chair.
were being attacked by these bats. You could tell they were rubber, and they were really
When you
trying to
see
get
the
off.
strings, and I mean, not just one, when you
Yeah.
see all the strings coming in, they're doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You're like, come
They're
on.
trying to get them off, and like there's one bat, and it's absolutely killing him, and it's only about that big, and I thought, oh god.
Well, it's like that fight scene. That was ridiculous.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
just badly done, but
Yeah.
I think that was just like we're seeing it. It's a product of the times. We're still not properly in the movies.
No.
We're sort of getting there, but we're not properly into what we would class today as a movie.
Hmm.
This is moving on from a stage show that doesn't quite know what to do with itself, and you can see that.
Yeah. But if you think Edward D'Souza, who plays Gerard, he was in Phantom of the Opera,
Mm-hmm.
And all these actors on here I've checked on it again. They're all TV series actors. They've used everyone off the TV again. There's one or two have had bit parts in Lawrence of Arabia.
Some of them are in Curse of Frankenstein as well.
Yeah, there's a couple in Curse of the Frankenstein, but mostly bit parts in a lot of the films. But the rest of it is all TV. So yeah, it's, the other bit I liked was when Gerard comes out and goes, "Where's my wife? Wife? You didn't come with anyone. Now we want you to leave because you're a troublemaker." And then he goes back to the hotel. "Oh, where's my wife? You don't have any wife. You've come alone." It's like he didn't go, right, I'm going to call the police or anything, and or try and fight back saying, "You've kidnapped my wife." It was a case of, "Oh, have I? Okay, bye then."
Yeah.
You give me,
Must have been some hangover he had. He forgets his own name. Did I have a wife? Oh, that was some weekend. He.
Yeah.
We've all been there. Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't take this movie seriously.
No, it's a bit of a strange story as well. Like I said, the first bit, who in their right mind would have a telescope, coming out, because the only thing you had to look at it really was the road that they turned up. And why would you continue looking at the road if you knew that cars were very few and far between back then? It was horse and carts, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And carriages and
nothing to see.
No, not a lot.
And plus, if that's your hobby, what's the point in being a vampire and immortal? Because bit of a waste of a life.
Yeah. And I just felt like I said, the Dr. Ravner, he tried far too hard to be Christopher Lee, double really, and even down to he stood there in the window looking out the window, and you could just imagine Christopher Lee stood there with his reddened eyes, like when he's facing the vampire hunter, and it's that sort of pose, and you thought, yeah, no way, Christopher Lee, stop trying to be yourself. Really, I think if he had done something, of his own accord, it would have been more realistic.
If he had been the cult leader,
yeah,
that was the twist in this, that it's a whole vampire cult. Just go with that. But once again, there's no payoff.
Yeah, because you would have thought as well, the girl was taken back to the hotel, wasn't she? You would have thought that the cult would have he would have ordered the cult to go and get her back.
Well, they couldn't get out because apparently the professor had used garlic oil
Yeah,
on an entire castle.
Yeah,
and didn't miss a spot.
Some bloody thing of garlic, isn't it?
Yeah, you mean that
bloody loads of it.
He carries little vials, and it's like you're talking about buckets worth to cover the entire all the entrances and exits of a castle.
Yeah,
did not make sense.
You didn't see him with any buckets either, didn't you?
No, that would have been a major operation. Plus the familiar, it doesn't. Right, it might stop the vampires, but it doesn't stop the familiars.
Yeah.
Which we know the servants are familiars, they're not vampires. So
yeah. So because they couldn't get out, they were sat there going, "Oops, upside down." That just, as soon as I saw that, I thought, "Oh my god!"
Once again, if this had been a Carry On movie,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
Why is the professor still alive?
I don't know, and why? When has it been a thing that a vampire bite is cured by burning your hand off?
Well, they did that in Brides of Dracula. Do you remember the scene with Peter Cushing?
Oh,
he got bit and he branded himself and he spread it with a,
Yeah. Did you notice the bites on the girl's neck? What was her name? Gerard. Marianne. Yeah. The bites on the neck, sort of. You could tell they were like stick-on.
Oh, bits. You mean the fact that we're peeling off? Yeah. I was just like, this should have been a Carry On. That's all I was saying the whole way through this.
Yeah,
should have been a comedy. Should have been a Carry On film. It would have been bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
Because the amount of effort put in that is the same effort they put in anyway, and just the stupidity of it would have worked.
If it was a Carry On film, they would have got away with a lot of what we're talking about.
Yeah, because it would have,
it would have been funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it had been an Amicus film, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The touch of the meta, John Pertwee, you can't just... But yeah, you got the professor. He's operating openly. And he's most of the time drunk out of his head in the hotel just down the road from the castle where everybody knows. And obviously the owners of the hotel are under the thrall of the vampires. So it's no big secret. He should have been taken out ages ago.
Oh, yeah. But, especially by the cult. Why didn't the cult go after him? Before he put the bloody...
The minute it turns nighttime. Or in this universe, they just have to wait till the cloud covers the sky, like they can just walk about. It's no problem.
Yeah,
but a cloud cover and they're fine and dandy. Like that scene, like you said. Oh, you better get out of here! The sun's coming up, and they ran, and you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah,
you've got servants to go and deliver news. You're meant to be like, there's nothing spooky about. And even if you had left the cult aside and just had the family, there's nothing spooky about them.
No. Because why was that piano so hypnotic? I've never known them to include in any vampire films a hypnotic piano tune. Because the girl was really a piano tune.
It's almost like snake charming, isn't it? But using a piano.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to have it. She's captivated by the beauty of the music or something. But the problem is the music they play over the top is like a Rin Tin tinkly, you know, it's like me trying to play something.
Yeah, it was a depressing piece of music as well, wasn't it? Like I said, it's the actual. They were actually proper like concertos or whatever that they were playing, but they just played really bad.
Yeah. It's like getting the 1999 Yamaha keyboard, you know what I mean, and trying to play default.
I don't think what they. I don't think I read it anywhere.
But
let's see.
like honestly, I felt more dread in the hotel than the castle.
Yeah.
If this had been a haunted house, then yeah, the castle actually with all the sheets over.
They because all the furniture and everything was covered over with sheets when they got there, wasn't it? When in the hotel, they got there, and the people were saying, "Come in," and they were taking all the sheets off all the furniture. But yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, the actual piece of music was called "The Vampire Rhapsody," by James Bernard, and I'd heard it before somewhere. I mean, there were other things. It was, you know, the hypnotic one. That was the Vampire Rhapsody. The others were all proper. I suppose they used proper classical music because over a certain age they don't have to pay anything for it.
Yeah, it's in the public domain.
You know, so yeah, if the person's dead, if they're dead for so many years, they don't have to pay anything for the music. But yeah, the hypnotic piece was called Vampire Rhapsody, which was quite a spooky piece. It was just played very badly and edited over very badly.
Yeah, the levels not just it was horrible.
But yeah, that's the one where he was playing and the keys weren't going down, and then he was playing up this end, and the notes that he was playing were down that end, and you know, and yeah, but yeah.
I don't get as well. Like you're meant to have sympathy for this couple, but when Marianne starts going through, because obviously they find the landlady, she's crying. And they sort of sneak in and they got her name and disappear. And then Marianne decides, do you know what? I'm rather curious. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go rifle through her personal things, which is none of my business.
Yeah.
But the plot we need a bit of exposition for plot. So I'll just go and do that. And I'm like, nah, you've lost any sympathy. It's gone.
It's gone.
You just don't do that. That's rude as hell.
Yeah.
Rather creepy. Like, who would want, if you ran a hotel, would you want guests like these two?
No. Yeah, because they stand there and openly telling me that, yeah, your food's crap. We're going up to the chateau. Yeah, I won't read that bit. Well, it's obvious what it said because it's because the food is not. Yeah, I'm not going to say anymore.
You're just like, what the? Like these two are absolute balloons. Like they're off their heads. I don't know. That's.
The other thing is when he gets told, "Oh no, you came here on your own." Why didn't they just chuck him to the bloody cult and let him make a meal of him?
Yeah, but that they were going to turn him.
Yeah,
the hotel owner's daughters were going to turn him. So if they're going to turn him anyway, what the hell was the point in the subterfuge? They may as well just turned them both and added them to the cult. It's not like they were very picky about who they let in, you know.
Yeah. One of those things where, go and tell him what you really think of him, and she spits at him.
That was actually the most. That actually made me go, ugh. Like that
was the only bit.
Yeah, that was the only bit. I was like, oh no, you didn't. Oh. Fair play him for playing that out because it'd be like, what? Ugh.
Yeah.
I'll be in that same with me.
One of the worst things you could have is someone spitting at you. Ugh. It's awful, isn't it?
That's fighting talk. You know what I mean? If you want to start a punch up, you spit in somebody because you're going to get your head removed.
Yeah. male or female.
Doesn't matter if that's
No, you just get punched.
yeah. He spit in my face. You're getting a knuckle sandwich back in return. End of story. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
But what was the point? Once again, what was the point? Because the daughter, the other vampire is going to bite him and turn him. So are they going to sit there awkwardly? Well, they're stuck together for eternity in the cult while she goes off with the count, the earl, the baron, whatever he is, the doctor.
Yeah. Doctor, isn't it?
Pick a title, any title.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense.
Yeah, the whole film was just like the actual backstory was so, it wasn't really. It was so small in script. The actual backstory of they're driving along, they've lost their way. Vampire sees them. They book into a hotel that's no longer a hotel. The vampire guy says, "Oh, come up to us for dinner."
But you can't stay over because we've got guests coming.
Yeah, and then and then they got this cult which has no meaning whatsoever. Why it's a cult, because they're eating everybody in the village, and then they try and nick the girl, don't they? And
but then they nick him too, anyway.
And they nick him afterwards, and then all these bats turn up and kill everybody.
Yeah. Apparently that was meant to be the resolution of Brides of Dracula.
Ah, right.
So the professor doing the dark arts spell was meant to be the ending of Brides of Dracula, but Peter Cushing said no, because he didn't believe that Van Helsing's character would do that.
Ah, right.
He believed Van Helsing's character wouldn't turn to the dark arts no matter what he was facing. That was the sort of redeeming quality.
Yeah.
Do you hear actors saying anything like that today?
Oh God, they'd be fired, wouldn't they?
The only one that ever did was he played Gerald, Superman.
Oh, Christopher Reeve.
No, recent.
Oh
my God, I've forgotten his name. Henry Cavill.
Oh, Henry Cavill, yeah.
Yeah, God's sake. Why did I forget his name? He's like involved in lots of stuff. Right, but he said that about The Witcher and stuff. The Witcher wouldn't do this. That's not the character. I've read the books, and he basically ended up leaving the set. He's the only actor who's ever done that. Everyone else is just, just pay me, I'll do whatever you want, and I don't care. Yeah. And it's all the fans' fault when they don't turn up because they're bigots. Because, that argument's not boring there. But yeah, the fact that would be normal conversation to have, to go, yeah, I've been playing this character a few times. He wouldn't do that. I've researched him. I've looked into him, and that wouldn't work. And then the studio goes, do you know what? You're right. Okay, we'll change that.
Yeah. I think if you get a good producer who you can actually turn around and say, yeah, I don't think that'll work, and the producer listens, then an actor like Henry Cavill should be able to go and say, nah, that's wrong. But yeah.
No, but obviously today, just
Well, today they think, yes, keep it in. I don't care. I'm getting 30 million for this.
And, see ya.
Yeah, I don't care if the film flops.
I've got paid. I'm sorted. But just interesting the fact that those conversations happened back then. People were invested in the franchise. But this is the second time they've tried to do a Dracula film, basically, without Dracula, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
If they had to remove the cult from this, that was a real sticking point that made no sense.
Yeah, it just. I didn't see the point of it. He was gathering up all these vampires in a cult, and for what purpose? Were they going to take over the world, or
no master plan?
No, that's right. Yeah, because there were quite a lot of them, weren't there?
Yeah, there's about 20 actors. There's 20. There's a budget. Whatever the budget of this movie was, You don't have 20 actors anymore. There's massive savings. Just keep it simple. Do you think they were trying to overdo it? They were trying to make it grandiose. They were trying to make it, next level, but they just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. And the thing is, if it was a poor story, which it was, you could have had anyone in there, and it just wouldn't have worked. If you look at it sensibly, if this had been also a Dracula film, it could have worked that little bit better. But I couldn't see Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing agreeing on such a weak storyline. The base story was too weak.
Yeah, there was no story. This is stuff you'd expect to find today. Just a bunch of scenes put together. Like, there's no plot.
Yeah. Something with Nicolas Cage in, you mean? or directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that's a shiny bum freaking production. They go to this ball. Like, once again, why the professor spends his time drunk out of his head.
Yeah.
And he won't speak to them, and then all of a sudden he randomly gets protective of them. You're like, pick one.
Yeah.
And when he's sober, he's like super cool and stoic, etc. And you're like, pick one. Like, your character makes no sense.
Yeah.
But the go to this ball, and oh my god, the mass switcheroo. That, once again, that should have been a comedy skit. That was ridiculous.
Oh god. Yeah, but surely anyone would have gone, hold on, that's not, because the back of his head was all open.
Yeah.
They had totally different haircuts.
And he
doesn't. Back, and she doesn't see it. She thinks, oh, it's me husband. I'm going with him. He walks totally different.
Yeah.
He's got a different haircut and different shoes on. And but it must be him. I'm going to follow him up to the bedroom.
Even that scene, I thought that was. It took me a minute to realize that was the Earl in the bedroom, or the doctor.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was Jared lying there, like dying or something.
Yeah. And then he like looks at her, doesn't he? And then puts his hand down and says, "Lay down there," more or less, and without actually saying anything. And she does as she's told and bites her on the neck. It's
was
a
strange movie.
I found from the beginning, I thought, yeah, he's trying to be too much like Christopher Lee. Why has he got a telescope? That was mine. And then that bloke stood up on the thing watching the funeral. I thought, you instantly think he's the vampire, and then it turns out not. He turns out to be the vampire hunter. It's a bit. It was a weak attempt at a Dracula film, really. I think.
And there was a couple of cool, like the idea of the vampire hunter using a dark ritual and turn it on themselves. That was cool, and we'll see that later on with the Devil Rides Out when we get to that.
Yeah.
One of the most iconic scenes in a movie ever.
Yeah.
When they're all in the circle and everything comes at them to get them to break the circle. You know what I mean? That's one of the most intense. I'm looking forward to talking about that because that was one that stuck with me when I first watched it. Got me once again. That drew me further into horror because I'm like, oh god, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But they wasted it because the Doctor has no plan. There's no actual end game to what he's doing.
No, because there's no purpose for the cult.
No,
and he could have got another 100 members. And for what reason? What reason are they there for?
And with the couple, if he's going to why not just turn them both anyway? It just didn't make sense. The whole
why say to one, oh, you haven't got a wife, you came here on your own, and then have the thing saying, right, we're going to get him back. Right, you've hung around, you've been persistent for an extra 20 minutes, we'll just let you in. Yeah. Yeah.
And the professor, like, why was he? They should have taken him out. Like, he's just
Yeah.
down the road. It's not like he just appeared. He's been living there.
Wasn't as if he had any like weapons,
No,
really.
and he's drunk out of his head half the time. So just wait till
Yeah.
he's, get the hotel owner, give Basil Fawlty,
Mhm.
a few extra bottles of brandy to give him, and he'll sort himself out.
At least
Game
old,
over.
at least old Peter Cushing used to have his bag, didn't he?
Mhm.
And he used to have a stake and a hammer and
Yeah,
loads of garlic and a mirror and a crucifix all in his bag. But
yeah, he was
yeah,
professional, but yeah, this guy is just like I say. I think it's not just the script, but there's no storyline, and the actors have nothing to work with. I can't even fault them, if that makes sense.
yeah,
They've nothing to work with this movie, so how can they be invested? How can they give a performance? Because they're probably just as confused as us.
mm,
What
yeah,
am I doing? Why am I doing it?
yeah, yeah. It's very true. It would have took someone to actually say that. I think, like again, if you had the likes of Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, they would have gone, why are we doing this?
Mm,
Well, why isn't the cult helping? And I think questions would have been asked, but I think they were just playing along with the script
just
and
happy to get work.
exactly, because like I said, the majority of them were TV actors,
Mhm.
and they probably haven't got the clout back then as a TV actor as opposed to a well-known star.
Mhm.
So might have been exactly the same as the stars of today getting their money. These people were just glad of the work and TV stars, and they were just going along with whatever that was given to them.
Just get it done. But
Yeah,
a strange entry in the series,
yeah, very.
without a doubt.
And it just ended as well. That
Yeah.
was the other thing. Cole was up on his phone, and I was watching it yesterday, and it just went boom, and I thought, oh, was that it? I expected something else to happen. But, yeah.
But
Yes.
why not? Like, once again,
Not the best.
just have an end game, something the Doctor's trying to achieve,
Mm.
and then they have to thwart it, or else everywhere's in danger. Because all I got from this is the cultists turn up, and they were just going to go back home again
Yeah.
after the party.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
it, and then life would go on as normal. Because this has obviously happened before. There's no right. Here's what we're doing,
No.
and
It just.
they're locked in a castle. They couldn't get out, and they're all freaking out. You're like, but just it's not like it's been weeks or days, or what I mean. You're there for a party, and they can eat human food as well. That was a strange one.
uh,
That was
but
always meant to be the tale of a vampire that they can't eat human food.
I always thought as well that vampires used to have some blood at least, once a day or something like
Mm.
that to survive. And these people have been going for ages without. I
Yeah, but
mean,
they're eating human food and drinking
yeah,
and stuff, and it's like, no, that's not how it works.
no.
Oh well. Next up, we have The Old Dark House.
Hmm.
One I'm not familiar with.
I've never seen that. I think it's about an old dark house.
I've got that impression. It's going to be old and dark. We might be going back to black and white again. Who knows? We're
Maybe.
at a very random time, are we?
Yeah. I wonder who's in it. Let's have a look. The old dark house. The old dark house. Oh, it looks like it's a remake. It was originally made in 1932 with Boris Karloff.
Oh.
If it's the same one. Director William Castle. It's a familiar name. He's done a few, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
And you got stars Robert Morley, Joyce Grenfell. Yeah. In England, an American car salesman ends up spending a stormy night at a mysterious and deadly mansion of a client's family. Let's see what the...
It's going to be sort of Poe inspired then.
Yeah. It's not quite a remake. The old 1932 one was seeking shelter from a storm. 5 travellers are in for a bizarre and terrifying night when they stumble upon the family estate. So, sort of similar, but not quite. But the only 2 cast members I know is Robert Morley and Joyce Grenfell. Robert Morley, quite a talented actor. He's been in loads. I know that because my mum used to watch it. He's been in a lot of TV, but a lot of films as well.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I hope we're going to get a decent one because that's get 2 or 3 in a row. I'm starting to
worry.
I don't know. I'm losing my shine on the Hammer horror series. And when you rose tinted glass,
we've got a couple of Draculas coming up, haven't we? And,
we've got not for a while. Not the 1966 Dracula, Prince of Darkness.
Yeah,
I think that's Christopher Lee's back again. We've got Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. I think that might be Peter Cushing again. But that's afterwards. But we're not. The Gorgon obviously has. Oh, we've got right. So we've got Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, even with Frankenstein and the Gorgon. So there's 3 Peter Cushing ones.
I quite like the Gorgon. I thought that was pretty impressive.
I haven't seen that in a while, but yeah, it's Peter Cushing in it.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but as an entirety, this franchise is really hit and miss, isn't it?
At the moment,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, it appears that when they do the well-known films like the Draculas, the Mummy, the Frankenstein, they appear to be dead on. But it's when they diverge it off to something that's not well-known, like Phantom of the Opera was all right,
strangely executed, but
something like this is pretty hit and miss, and a couple of the others that you wouldn't think of. Don't
forget at the beginning they've had the likes of Robert Bloch, who are writers and storytellers.
Yeah,
this is the thing as well. A director is not necessarily, and I hate the way they do it today, that the director is also the writer. That's not. They're 2 separate jobs.
Yeah,
and it's one of those. We were talking about this last night. Actually, Clive Barker isn't a good director. He's a great storyteller, but he's not a good director.
Yeah.
So you need to separate the roles.
A bit like Stephen King writes books, but he tries to act, and he just can't. Yeah.
God, his first movie to say I'm going to direct myself was Maximum Overdrive. Sure, Chris and I watched that movie. Buckled ourselves laughing.
Terrible film, isn't it?
What the hell was that?
Yeah. But he played in one of the anthologies, didn't he? He played the guy who was covered in green stuff.
He was in Maximum Overdrive as well. He's been in a few. He does cameos.
In the Creep Shows, I think it was Creep Show 2. He gets.
Is that the one with the bugs? They pour the green stuff through the ceiling and then they drop the bugs?
No, this was a different sketch altogether. The one with the bugs was that guy who they were all coming in, weren't they, through everywhere, and he didn't like bugs and everything. That was a different story. This one something to do with what was it? Can't recall it all the time, but all the green stuff was growing into his house, and he actually became one of the sort of plant type things. But it was Stephen King, who was awful, terrible. But,
he's an awful person.
Is he?
Oh, you see the stuff he puts. He's mad.
Yeah,
he's a bitter man. It's like, calm yourself down, son. He's never off X.
Oh no, I've seen him on. Yeah,
he's never off the thing. You're like, right? If you hate the platform, you hate the owner, blah blah blah. Well, don't use it.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Go get another hobby. Go do coke again or something if that's what you need to cheer up. Freaking settle yourself. It's strange. I don't understand hate watching. I don't understand getting myself that wound up about people I don't agree with, that I'm actually hounding them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I don't like somebody, I just don't give them the time of day. I don't waste it. If I don't agree with somebody, fair enough. Just I'll leave you alone, you leave me alone, crack on. But see us sitting every day going, it's mental.
Yeah.
It's completely mad. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go. We've got that to look forward to. Hopefully it makes a bit more sense in this one, because this was confusing.
This is one. Don't bother. Don't waste your time.
No.
Or if you do, make sure you've had a bottle of wine first.
And lubricate yourself.
And it's a Sunday afternoon, and you've got a hangover, and you just want something to sleep to.
Yeah, this is post Sunday dinner. Have a snooze in front of the TV, because you will not get excited. You will not be terrified. You'll just be confused. So just and sort of watch with one eye. It's a background movie for the TV. There you go. Steve, thanks as always. Great to talk about these. It's good to revisit and not look through the rose-tinted glasses and just see how things actually were.
Yeah.
But there you go, folks. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Even the traitor, Chris, who pretends to be part of the podcast, but his family's more important. That's disgraceful. Don't know how we can get past this.
He's gone to have a ride on Harry Potter.
Yep. Make of that what you will. But there you go. Until next time, folks, keep up to date with the channel, do the type of clicky things, and remember to keep it creepy, keep it horrific.